When spinning, you want to make sure that you are on the balls of your feet and between the big toe and second toe. You want to practice by doing some calf raises, which will also strengthen the muscles needed to stay in that releve or lifted heels position. If you want the full calf raise exercise and how to practice keeping your legs strengthened and close together when you spin, linked above will be the previous video on tips for spinning, where I go into detail on how to do calf raises and different exercises for staying stable while you spin. I highly recommend watching this video if you want to improve your spinning. Once you go to the actual spins, you want to practice them in different ways to challenge yourself and also keep it fun. One way to do this is you start spinning 1 and 1 on either side, then 2 on the right and 1 on the left, then 1 on the right and 2 on the left, and then 2 on the right and 2 on the left. You can also mix this up and do any version of spin, adding more or less to keep it interesting. Make sure you challenge yourself by doing the number of spins that seem just above your reach instead of just doing what is comfortable. If you are getting value out of this video, please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for weekly dance videos that will take your dancing to another level. Don't forget to hit that bell as well so you never miss a video from me. Another thing I like to do is to spin back to back for an entire song. This really builds stamina both mentally and physically, and when you go to do just a couple spins in a choreography or in a class setting, it will feel so much easier. Flex your non-spinning foot and keep those ankles together. This way, if you need to tap for balance, it's not going to affect your axis much and you won't travel very much either. Simply tap the foot down when you feel a little wobbly and then lift it right back up into its flex. Change of direction spins are really great for performers, but it's actually good for anyone to work on your spotting. Start by doing quarter turns, which will barely feel like you're spinning, then switch to half turns, then 3/4 turns, and make sure you do everything in both directions. You're going to do a quarter turn to the right, and then you're going to take a full turn to the left. So you've switched your spotting, and then when you take that full turn, you want to make sure you're spotting that new direction. And then make sure you do it to the left as well. So you would start with a full turn to the right and then take a quarter turn to the left, a full turn again to the right, and a quarter turn to the left, and so on. Make sure you do everything on both sides, always, so that you're strong on both sides and you don't have a weaker side. If you do feel like you have a weaker side, as we usually have one side that's more dominant, go double on that side. The same rules apply for traveling spins. We want to make sure that we're still forward on the balls of our feet and that we're not sickling our ankles out. To make this more difficult, try doing 1 1/4, then 1, 1 1/4, 1, etc., then 1 1/2, and so on. And if you really want a challenge, you can try 1 1/4 and 2 spins, 1 1/4, 2 spins, etc. Your weight will stay underneath your hips at all times. Try moving back and forth a little bit so that you can get yourself into the right alignment. You'll see that you want the shoulders stacked to the hips and then stacked right over the ankles. When working on your traveling spins, the goal is to take longer to get there, and that you want to take small steps and not bigger steps. By taking small steps, you're able to keep your weight underneath you at all times. Traveling spins are also great for working on spotting. As you're rotating towards a spot in the room, keep looking at that point and don't let yourself to look away. You can track if you're able to go in a straight line or if you start to veer, and then you will know how well you're spotting, or if you need to maybe work on your neck flexibility and mobility, or if you need to simply practice your spotting a little bit more. It's important to practice super slowly, for example with a cha-cha, because this really forces you to keep your balance, helps you focus on your spotting, and it also lets you know where you are on your feet. So you can think about all of these different things because you're going slow enough that you have the time. Of course, it's also important to practice faster and push your speed so that you're able to spin quickly and you have the ability to spin at multiple speeds. The obstacle course is one of the most enjoyable ways of practicing spinning to me. It's fun to give yourself a little challenge and a course or path to follow. This is especially good for performers if you are working on needing to travel across the floor in a certain way. Make sure you pick objects that are not dangerous if you accidentally kick it or trip on it. I like to use yoga blocks because we have them here at the studio. We've used shoes before in our rehearsals. You should see the objects out of the corner of your eye while you're spinning, and this will train your peripheral vision, but you don't want to focus directly on them because they are below you and you should be spotting at eye level. Focus on spinning in a straight line. Once you get to the first point, you're going to change direction. You can create as long of a course as you want, but I recommend having at least 3 points. I hope these tips really help with your spinning and that you start to see improvement with practice. Consistency is important, but so is making it an enjoyable experience. Create a program for yourself, but mix it up every now and then, pushing yourself when you see improvement. Don't wait to be perfect at something before trying something harder. Practice with different music. Use non-salsa music sometimes. And remember, spinning is part of dancing. It's just one aspect of the dance, so don't get too caught up in it. If you need help coming up with a practice regime, message me and I'd be happy to help.